Are you someone who has a sedentary and laid-back lifestyle? Feel too lazy to get out of bed every morning and hit the gym or go for a run? Prefer to take the elevator every time rather than climb a few flights of stairs? Well, then this story is for you. Half of all Indians are physically unfit. Yes, you heard that right. Half the adult Indian population does not meet the World Health Organization's guidelines on sufficient physical activity, according to new data published in the Lancet Global Health, the world's leading medical journal. Though women are doing somewhat better than men, more women, that's 57%, than men, 47%, are physically inactive. Most alarmingly, the prevalence of insufficient physical activity among Indian adults has risen sharply from 22.3% in 2000 to 49.4% in 2022. Why should you worry about this? Here's why. If this trend is left unchecked, 60% of India's population would be unfit by 2030 and at risk of disease from not doing enough physical activity, or to put it simply, from being physically unfit. So if you fall into this category, this is what you need to do. The WHO recommends at least 150 to 300 minutes of moderate aerobic activity per week, or equivalent vigorous activity for all adults. Insufficient physical activity is defined as not doing 150 minutes of moderate intense activity, 75 minutes of vigorous intense activity, or an equivalent combination per week. According to the WHO, physical inactivity puts adults at greater risk of cardiovascular diseases such as heart attacks and strokes, type 2 diabetes, dementia, and cancers of the breast and the colon. Remember, India is the diabetes capital of the world, and obesity is closely linked to diabetes amongst other causative factors. India has the 12th highest prevalence of insufficient physical activity among 195 countries. 44 million women and 26 million men above the age of 20 in India were found to be obese in 2022. In fact, India could be facing an obesity epidemic, with alarm bells ringing particularly for the young. 12.5 million children in the country between the ages of 5 and 19 were grossly overweight when this study was done in 2022. 70% of India's urban population is classified as obese or overweight, placing the country amid an obesity crisis. Let's now look at the global picture. Worldwide, nearly one-third, that's 31% of adults, approximately 1.8 billion people on the planet, did not meet the recommended levels of physical activity. That means 1 in 8 people in the world were living with obesity. The WHO says this is because of many factors, including changes in work patterns, move towards more sedentary work, changes in the environment, convenient transportation modes, and changes in leisure time activities, meaning more screen-based sedentary activities. The highest rates of physical inactivity were observed in the high-income Asia-Pacific region, 48%, and South Asia, 45%, with levels of inactivity in other regions ranging from 28% in high-income Western countries to 14% in Oceania. Here's what is alarming about this. Indians are genetically more prone to developing non-communicable diseases like heart diseases and diabetes at least a decade earlier than others. Dr. K. Srinath Reddy, public health expert and top cardiologist, says lack of physical activity means you are just aggravating your existing risk factors. The WHO goals were set to reduce risk of heart diseases, diabetes, obesity, and some types of cancer, while improving mental health and a stronger immune system. But delayed urbanization and industrialization in some parts of the world have led to a sedentary and comfortable lifestyle, particularly South Asia, including India, he says. Fitness experts say you need at least some simple physical activity, such as going for a walk. This is particularly important for people with comorbidities such as diabetes. But those individuals should seek medical advice on the frequency, intensity, and type of physical activity that they should do based on their endurance levels. While Indian women may be doing marginally better, factors according to the Lancet study, Indian women are doing worse than women in neighboring Bangladesh, Bhutan and Nepal. Dr. Reddy says many Indian women wrongly believe that household chores are a good form of physical exercise. There are also cultural barriers in some cases. He says inactivity is most evident in middle-aged urban women. Others point out that a larger share of home duties combined with their caregiver role provide women less opportunities to prioritize themselves. The question we're asking on Global Lens tonight is this: are we taking our obesity crisis seriously enough? What are we doing to address the challenge posed by, well, half of Indians being physically unfit? How grave is the risk of this huge physically unfit population contracting diseases such as diabetes and heart ailments? Just what do we need to do to ensure our lack of physical fitness and the resultant diseases do not cause a major national health crisis? Perhaps the simple answer is get off that couch now and exercise. You will thank yourself later.